Have you ever felt like you hated your art? Like everything you made was crap? And I don't use that word lightly. I was recently going through this, especially last week, and I was like, everything I made, I didn't like. And so I wanted to make this video for you. If you feel the same way, I want you to know that we're gonna go through a little different way of doing our compositions today. I decided to grab some help from some other people. They have no idea that they helped me, but I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did now to help re-inspire me. So, you wanna see the painting? By the power of magic, I have it right here. So this is what we're painting today. We are also using a watercolor palette from Meeden and some brushes, and they were so kind to gift those to me. So linked in the description for the information if you want to purchase them. But let's try them out together and try a new way of painting. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. So the first thing I did was go onto YouTube, and I hopped on to Crystal Tan's profile. Here you can see her beautiful, gorgeous loose watercolor florals, and she's one of two artists I'm going to mention today that I get inspiration from. She does beautiful light layers and then adds in those dark, rich lines and squiggles and texture to get that contrast in her florals. And I just wanted a little inspiration, specifically on her style, to get me going for my painting today. And the second artist that I get inspiration from is Jillian Boone. And so she has beautiful loose florals, but what is different about her is that she starts first by wetting her paper. And once the paper is wet, then she starts adding her first layer of color, allowing those bleeds to spread and get really lovely on the paper, and then starts adding in more details as things are getting damp, as things are getting dry, with her final layer being bright and vibrant as well. This was enough to get me inspiration for today's tutorial. I've linked them below if you'd like to follow. All right, let's go ahead and spray down our watercolor paints. As you can see, I have never used this palette before, but I've used Meeden's paint before, just in the tubes. So you can see we are using the palette today to experiment and see if we like the colors, the consistency, the mixing, all that stuff for our florals. I'm also using the Meeden brushes too. There's a whole bunch of brushes in this set. I'm actually just going to be using 3 of them today, a medium, a smaller one. They've got really great points too, and then this large wash brush. I just wanted to show you all the ones that come in this set. Now I've got their paper as well, the Meeden watercolor paper, and it is beautiful. It's cotton, but you've got to use what you have. I do have to say, since we are painting wet on wet, we're going to want to have a paper that's going to hold up more to all that water. So I would recommend cotton for this. Again, we are just going outside the comfort zone, meaning what I'm used to painting, because sometimes we just need a new inspiration. So I'm going to wet my paper down. I'm not going to paint on all of it, but I do want to have this pretty wet, not like a puddle, but you can see I'm doing these brush strokes here to wet that down and just have a go at it. So if you're not used to painting wet on wet, this could feel a little bit scary, could be the word. Don't think of it as scary. Think of it as exciting and new. If you change the story, you're going to have a different experience. I promise. I guess I won't say I promise because everyone is different, but I am certain that your experience is going to be a lot better. How about that? Okay. So I've covered up all the spaces that I can, and now this is the part where it feels very disconcerting for some, because that paint is going to spread a lot. So I'm wetting down my larger brush, and I'm going to start grabbing some of these paints. And right now I can already tell they're mixed with white, some of them, and so they're a bit more opaque than transparent, which is nice. And if you add in more water, you get more of that transparency as well. So I'm just going to grab some of this paint. I do like to go a little bit thicker when I'm doing these wet on wet flowers because they're going to spread a lot. So I'm going to spread in the water, and the water is going to combine to create a lighter version once it's dry. So I'm just going to go around skidding around the paper. See how easy these petals are, just going in and out, making those lines. Look at how it's spreading and moving. So pretty. All right, so I've always liked Meeden paints. So I didn't feel like I'd be disappointed anyway with these, but they were so gracious to send them to me. And now I'm gonna make kind of a peachy color. All right, so we're just gonna do a side-facing flower here. And you can see some of it is not gonna spread because the water ends there. It's a little side-facing there. I want all these flowers to kind of touch each other and create a story, a closeness, connection. So I don't know if you've ever tried to copy another artist and what that looks like for you. Sometimes we feel really scared to do that because, especially if you want to like sell your paintings. I'm just gonna keep putting these brush strokes down, you guys. Okay, very easy. Allow them to be light. At least for me, when I wanted to sell my paintings, let's grab some blue. I just didn't want to copy, and I didn't want to be seen in a way that I was copying people's work and then posting it, and then I was like, okay, who did I copy this from? Who do I tag, kind of thing. But, you know, we're just doing this painting for ourselves. We're going to do another one where you can see the full flower. I like how this is not going to spread. My paint, or my water, is now just damp. So things aren't spreading as much, but still damp, still able to spread a bit. And then I'm going to do kind of a bit of a rose. So maybe grabbing some of this red, mixing that in as well. I don't really love red. Let's actually mix some pink in there. We're just creating a little different, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I like what's happening here. I'm going to do something like that down here too. It's okay. So this is part of that intuitive process, side facing here, where you are making decisions in the moment. And so, but what I'm talking about when I talk about copying other artists, sometimes we get so bored. We get so stuck in our own world and our own way of doing things that we get to a point where we're not really sure what we like, what we want to do. It gets a little frustrating. Let's grab some greens. So I'm just swirling my brush. I like that green. That's a nice one. And I'm keeping my colors separate somewhat. There's some large mixing spaces, which I love about this palette. This is such a great case, by the way. Can I just say that? It's so sturdy. You can keep your brushes like a thinner brush. You can keep some brushes in there. It's wonderful. Meeden is just a great brand. One reason why I love their watercolor supplies, their paper, is because they're very affordable for cotton. And everything is linked in the description, I should say. So if you're wanting to check out their stuff, you can get all the information and linked in the description as well. And they're having a Valentine's sale, so you can check that out. I think there's a 12% discount because you're getting that from me, so that's pretty fun. Just gonna skid around, adding in some greens, just pressing. That one is not wet at all, so that's gonna stay how it is. Some of these are gonna spread more, and that's okay. And that's the fun part of it. So it gets to a point where it feels a little bit scary sometimes because you're not sure what's gonna happen, and that's okay. You just try something new. Let's add in some other greens. So, ooh, this is a brighter green. That's pretty. That's kind of limey. And what's this over here? That's a green too. Love that. Swatching these colors out would be really fun too. Mixing these together, that's nice. So just some pressing down, making some distinct leaves in some cases, and some others, not so much. Just doing a variety, little lines, dashes. So when you get to this part of your painting, sometimes you start to think, okay, I'm not really sure where we're going with this. How's this going to turn out? And you start to get a little panicky maybe. Little line here. So don't do that. Just take a deep breath. Remind yourself this is going to be whatever it's going to be. And you're just having fun with it. Let's dab our brush. Okay, so how are you feeling? Can you see something that you like so far? Are you jiving with the painting experience? I really hope so. Let me know in the comments. Also, if you're liking this video, please give it a like. It lets the algorithm know other people should be watching it. So I appreciate that so much. Just take a pause, press the like button, and move on with your painting. All right, so this part is getting kind of crazy. And what I can do is clean my brush, dab it, And then I can remove some of that paint that's spreading all nuts. And what I can do later is when it's dry, I can go over and add in some leaf shapes that are going to be more defined, okay? Because right now it's fine, it doesn't matter, we've got some crazy happening, but then we can go back and define some things a little bit more, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do, I think I'm ready to hit this up with a hair dryer, and we're going to make this painting come alive with a second layer. We've got everything dry. And if it does still feel a little damp, then it's not completely dry. Like it feels a little bit cool, then you know you need to dry it a little bit more. All right, now is the fun part. I love starting to add in these floral details. And I'm going to grab my larger brush again. Make sure it's really clean. I'm just going to clean it in the pink water, just in case there's any green water on there that could taint it or something. So now we have to figure out how to add in our watercolor shadows. I don't want to go crazy fluorescent or anything like that. Just want to have some subtle details, but we want to go a little bit darker than what's already there or it's not going to show up. Okay, so grabbing some pink again. If I were to add a little green to it, it's going to tame it down just a tad. Just a little note there for you. This is a very creamy pink. I like that a lot. So we want to dab our brush and then start to add in our details. And I like to use the side of the brush. I'm going to scoot these because I'm going to be hitting them. And then you just start to add in some quick little dashes and lines and sometimes sketchy little marks like that. What we're trying to do is just create our dimension with our flower, but I'd like to shift the color a little bit too. I don't want it to be all the same. That's why we have our purple one here. And we've got a beautiful red. That might be fun to mix in too. Okay, so dab your brush. And then, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about this idea of, I was not loving my art. I was literally hating it. And it happens. It happens to me. It happens to other people. It happens to you, I'm sure. And I realized that I was stuck in a rut and I kept doing the same things over and over, the same type of brush marks and the colors. And I had to go over to my friends' channels to revisit, okay, these are the things I really liked about them. Let me try that. Let me try to change my style a little bit, even if it's just for today. And I took a little bit of, each one. Just gonna go over here with some quick marks. And I forgot, that wet on wet technique is something that I should try a little more often when I'm feeling like I'm in a rut to loosen things up. Because that definitely works for me. Like, I feel like that creative part of my brain comes out more when I'm doing it this way. But it's not the style that I go to all the time. And then, with Jillian, she's really great about doing that, wet on wet florals. And then Crystal is really great about adding in certain types of shadows, certain types of marks that really makes things come alive. And so for me, comparing what that looks like with mine and trying it a little bit more like theirs, combining those together, really helped me to bounce out of my rut. So I encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to look through old sketchbooks. What are some things that you used to like in the past? Let's dip our brush and then dab it. Now we've made the paint a little bit lighter. What are some things, some tutorials that you really found to be helpful, that you followed, or maybe that some paintings that you did that you really love? Just kind of going and doing that research. That doesn't mean you're going to stick with the style, but it just means you're getting a refresher, you're getting new inspiration. So I hope that makes sense to you. For me, it's a journey all the time to figure out where I'm at, but I get into ruts, and you're going to get into ruts, and it's normal, okay? So don't freak out about it. I've got the beautiful cadmium yellow. Kind of want to mix it with the lemon yellow and see how that goes. A little variation there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this, which is sometimes a no-no in the art world. I don't know why. But we're just going to go upside down because it feels a bit easier to do what we need to do. So I'm going to put my middle about right there. I'm just going to pretend it's there. There's a white spot. And then I'm just going to, you know, make some little marks like we've been doing. And maybe I'm just adding in a little bit of roundness for this petal here. And then little sketchy marks. Now I can take off some of that paint, so now we've got a lighter yellow, and I can just fill in some of that as I need to. Okay, we're upside down. We're gonna do this one next. This one is gonna need some treatment as well. I don't know, maybe a peachy color. Let's add some orange in there. Ooh, that's bright. Orangey pink. It's really pretty. A little extra water in there. Dab your brush. And then I don't like how that was separating there, so I just went ahead and closed in the gap. Remember using the side of your brush to create some marks. And make sure to curve. Curve those little marks around. Make it easy peasy, rounded. So I don't know if that makes it easier going upside down. To me, it seems to make sense. It helps me. So kind of loosens up everything. So now when it comes to our greens, I'm going to grab more concentrated green that we already have here. I'm actually going to see, is this a black? Whoa, what's that? Is that green? Oh my, that's a black or something. Make a dark green. And this is all pretty dry, so we can just do some little lines to connect things together. And you know, so much of loving our art or hating our art, I can do some little actual brush strokes over this mess. So much of it is what we're telling ourselves. So when you find those negative stories creeping in, I want you to stop yourself. I want you to be like, whoa, let's make some leaf shapes here. Whoa, relax. What's something that I love about this painting? What do I enjoy that's happening here? What did I do well? Just kind of give yourself a heads up. And look, I just painted over that, and I think it's great. You can just augment things because that background is going to be in the background. But that doesn't have to be all it is. Let's add some blue. You can change it up. You can do some fun color mixing with all this and see what comes out of it. This is a very bright green. I'm going to add a little bit of black to it just to tone it down. But a pretty color, pretty intense as well. And then over here, just some little lines, and then pressing down to create some more defined brush strokes. Over here too. And yeah, this is meant to be just easy peasy, relaxing. One here, and one here, and one there, and connect it with the little point of the brush. These brushes are really great. They are student grade, but they work so well. They have such amazing points on them, so it helps you to do. You can do the thick marks with the thick brush or the thin marks with the point. All right, just a little bit here. And maybe in between some flowers, that's still a little wet, that's okay. Just add in the connector for this flower and this one as well. Take a deep breath. Are you holding your breath at all? Sometimes that happens when we're painting. Whew, gotta let it go because all you have is now, and being in the moment right now is what we're trying to do. Got some purple. I'm just looking at these different colors. Some blue here, that's really bright. What other colors do you want to put in? You can go pretty dark, so it's more paint and less water ratio. Dab your brush, and that kind of looks like what I already have. You can add some purple. Oh, that's beautiful. A little periwinkle happening. That's nice. Dab it. And then you can put a little bit of a darkness on there. This is all about using your intuition, okay? So when your intuition has got nothing left to give, look at your favorite artists, copy the skills that you love from each of them into your own type of thing, okay? I'm going to smooth that out into your own creation. And that's going to give you the most satisfaction. When you're first starting, it's fun to copy because, you know, you feel really good about what comes out. Maybe doing it on your own is not so satisfying. But once you start to understand how that works, I'm going to do a little splatter. you can start to do your own thing, and it really is fun to come up with your own work. All right, I'm going to dry this and we'll do our centers. All right, I'm using my tiniest brush now. This one is a number 5. They have it numbered in odd numbers, or maybe not. This is a 5, this is a 6. So anyway, they sort of have, I feel like it's a little different system than what I'm used to, but still works. All right, let's grab this. This is the black. I'm just going to put it right here. All right, so that's pretty dark. I want to get really concentrated. We haven't even touched on the fluorescent numbers here, which actually I'm going to add a little bit of that and there's some metallic, gorgeous. Guys, this palette has a lot of things. It's 48 colors. There's a lot to work with. All right, so we're just going to do these little lines. And that is giving me some dry brushing, which means it was too dry. I needed more water to the paint. So these little spiky lines for our fun little center. I like to curve them in so they're not stick straight. They are curving, they're creating movement in the floral. And I'm going to just add to my center here too, just stippling. This is stippling, little dots. Or not, yeah, little dots. And then we're gonna do some little dots here on the outside for this fancy florals stamen. It's not doing really specific dots because it's more like dashes because it's so pointy, but that's okay. It still works. She's still a fancy flower. Look at her go. Okay, clean your brush. We're gonna do a similar thing, but with the green here. So I wanna get a very concentrated amount of green. I'm just scrubbing around in a circle to get a dark version. Lots of paint and less liquid there. And same type of thing. I start with my center, and then we're just going to do those same curved lines. Okay. Can make them thicker if you'd like. And the center of a flower, I mean, it really, let's do like little circles. Let's see if we can do that. The center of a flower really makes the flower, right? I mean, you've got the shape of the petals and the colors, but then the shape of it, or the center is what I meant to say. Let's darken up our green now for the center. Really makes it what it is. And then we're gonna do one more right here. This is a side facing one. So I've got the center right there and a little bit more green. And then we're just gonna go with these, and they're gonna come out this way and just on this side. I like to do really fast dots because they don't then become perfect. If I go slowly, I try to get them all perfect, and I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that just, you know, kind of intuitively paints and doesn't overthink. And it helps me not to overthink when I go really fast. It's a skill that not everybody wants to have. Some people prefer to be slow and methodical. So it really just depends, you know, on what you like to do. I'm gonna add in some green in between here just a little bit. Some sketchy lines like this. Just holding it really loosely. And having fun. I hope you're having fun. All right, so we've done almost everything, but I want to go to these beautiful colors right here because I feel like we could fancy this up just a tad. I want to start with this fluorescent. I painted with fluorescent a year or two ago, and I was blown away, dab. I didn't realize how much I loved fluorescent color, and then I really didn't use it. I haven't used it for a while, so building up a little extra color there. A little shock factor, I don't know. I'm not doing a lot, just some, you know, little highlights here and there. And you can curve some of your lines like this. You can go thicker or thinner, and maybe over here just a little bit. So I like to put a little bit in there. You know, you can see it's there, but it's not going to overwhelm. And then we're going to grab, let's grab some of the orange too. They're just beautiful creamy colors. Just a little bit in there. This was not in the plan, But often what I do is not in the plan. It's just, it kind of springs forth. And that's what I want you guys to do. Just trying like new things and seeing if it makes you happy. Okay? Just see if it makes you happy. It might be like, ooh, I hate it. I will never do that again. You walk away from it. But honestly, trying the new things can help you. Again, when you're in an art funk like I was, help you to find something else, something new that you love that you didn't know. So this is really pretty. Putting in some of those gold marks. Just a little. I have to restrain myself because my whole being wants to just go crazy with this and add like a lot. We could do some leaves. It's a fun palette because it's very kid friendly. And when it's kid friendly, it's very fun friendly, if that makes sense. Like it can help adults to loosen up, let go, and try the colors and expressions they would not normally do. And so I feel like there's a lot of validity in that for painting with things like this. Okay. All right, well, that's about where I need to stop because I think we're done. This has been so much fun. Again, the supplies are all linked in the video description if you would like to purchase, and make sure to like the video if you liked the video. Thank you. Okay, so how did you feel about that experience? I hope you loved it. I hope it was super fun. And I hope that you left it thinking of some people that you can start to copy, to look at their work and be inspired by. Because it's one thing to save pictures on Pinterest, but it's another thing to copy the style of another artist and then bits and pieces and see if that all works in for you. Thanks so much for watching, for being a part of this. Like the video if you liked the video. It really helps get that out there into the world so other people can watch this video as well. And all my goodies are down linked below. My art retreat to Italy this fall, as well as Patreon and a whole bunch of other stuff. So anyway, have fun guys. Happy painting and happy mental health.